Good morning. Welcome to an all-new episode of Mystery, Murder, and Magic. We're back from the mountains. We're all refreshed and a lot tired. But y'all, it was an awesome 3-day getaway. And we left out Friday morning around 9 o'clock in the morning. And we got to Maggie Valley around lunchtime. We stayed at the Clarkton Motel. And the room that we actually had was a suite. And I didn't realize that when I booked it. But anyway, we had 3 queen-size beds and a day bed. There was a gas fireplace and there was a little kitchenette. And y'all, it was so affordable and nice. So if you're ever in that area, check out the Clarkton. It's not a big luxury place, but y'all, it's got everything you need. And it's quiet over there too, and it's pretty affordable. Saturday morning, we got up and rode over to Cades Cove in Tennessee. The boys had never been there, so I was so excited to show it to them. And they were fascinated with all of Gatlinburg. And y'all, I thought, it's not really tourist season yet. Traffic won't be so bad, but I was so wrong. It was bumper to bumper. Just awful. I don't think there's a tourist season anymore. It's just always tourist season. Pigeon Forge was pretty crowded too, but it wasn't bumper to bumper like Gatlinburg. And while we were in Pigeon Forge, we went over to the Hollywood Wax Museum, and the kids loved it. They couldn't get over how much the wax figures look like the real celebrities. And if you follow any of our social media accounts, I'll be adding pictures from our weekend. And the links to our socials are always in the podcast episode descriptions. And hey, I'm going to say it right now. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube. And that link is in the description too. All right, enough about our vacation. Today we're going to be talking about a story that came out last week from Wisconsin. It's pretty horrific, so you may not want to listen with your little ones around. But I'm going to try to keep it as nice and clean as possible. And we're also going to talk about an Indiana man who thought he was Donald Trump. And he also thought his parents were Bill and Hillary Clinton before he attacked his parents. And it ended up leaving his father dead. Now, y'all, I can't make this stuff up.
It's Monday, and that means it's time for a new episode of Mystery, Murder, and Magic. And here's your host, Andrea Lee, and sometimes Alex.
All right, y'all. As we know, people have fantasies. And I'm not knocking anybody for that. Some people like to be choked during sex. It's not for me, that's scary, but okay. Now, most people know when to stop, but a woman in Wisconsin was actually enjoying choking her lover with a chain and didn't stop. And the man died. But it didn't end there. She then cut his body into pieces, and it was his own mom who discovered his head and penis in a bucket. I can't imagine the horror of that discovery. I mean, I don't even want to imagine what that had to be like. Man's family is calling his killer a monster, and that monster's name is Taylor Schabusiness. Or at least that's my attempt at her last name. Now, Taylor's 24 years old, and she's been charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. And that last charge came from her actually giving the corpse oral sex and using a sex toy on him after he had been dead. Now, who the hell does something like that? Well, apparently, she and the victim, Shad Thyrion, who was 25, were smoking meth, and both had shot up trazodone, which is a powerful sedative. So what led Shad's mom to finding him? Well, in the wee hours of February 23rd, Shad's mom, Tara, woke up to the sound of the storm door slamming, and around that time, she said she heard a car driving away. She figured it was Taylor leaving, and when she went to check, she saw that the basement light was on, which is where Shad stays. She told police that she walked into the basement, didn't see anyone, and then she turned to go back up the stairs, and that is when she saw the bucket. There was a blanket laying over that bucket, so Tara moved it, and that's when she saw her son's head. The last time she saw Shad was alive was the previous Monday night when Taylor had came to pick him up. Now, Tara and her own boyfriend, now Tara's the mom of the victim, but she and her own boyfriend had been out of the house for most of that day, and she believed that Taylor had been in the basement with Shad on that Wednesday because she had heard who she believed was Taylor talking. When police arrived, they found the bucket containing Shad's decapitated head and saw what they believed to be dried blood on a nearby mattress. It didn't take them long to track down Taylor at her home, and when they did, she still had on a sweatsuit that had blood on the top and the pants. She also had scratches on her arms, a cut on her left thumb, and what is believed to be blood on her hands. She was caught with blood on her hands, y'all. When the police questioned Taylor, she admitted that the two had been doing drugs, and when they told her that they had found a bucket with Shad's head in it, her response was, "That is pretty fucked up." You think, Taylor? And when they asked what had happened in the basement, she replied with, "That is a good question." And boy, did she have a good answer. She told police that when they got ready to have sex, Shad brought out 2 metal chains, one for her and one for him. She says that Shad put one of the chains around his own neck, but she didn't think much of it because they had used strangulation before when they had sex. Suddenly, Taylor blurts out, "Damn, I left the head," or "Damn the head, I can't believe I left the head though." And she went on to tell police that they were going to have fun, her words, not mine, trying to find all the organs from where she had dismembered the body. But get this, she said that most of the organs were in the basement, but a foot or leg should be in her minivan. Y'all, what the actual heck? There's more twists to this story, y'all. Now, Taylor said that she went nuts while choking Shad, and when she could still feel his heart beating, she pulled harder on the chain. She sat on his back, pulling on the chain and watching him cough up blood. She was literally waiting for him to die. Now, even after she knew that he was dead because his face was purple, she didn't even stop then. She kept on, and she admitted to liking it even though the murder, she says, wasn't intentional. Now, she is truly a monster, okay? It was at that point that she said she gave him oral sex and used a sex toy on him even though she knew he was dead. And y'all, that went on for 2 or 3 hours. And she also told cops that Shad did try to fight back. So the man knew she was intentionally trying to kill him, and he fought her, but, you know, she ended up being the stronger person in this case, I suppose. She then used knives that she found in his mom's kitchen to decapitate and dismember his body. And she told police that they would find those knives in the same black bag as some of Shad's body parts. She even told police that she preferred the bread knife that she found because it had a serrated blade, and that worked best. When police searched the basement, they found multiple body parts and shopping bags. His torso and some internal organs and a knife were found in a tote. It's like the storage totes like Rubbermaid makes or Sterilite. Now, his legs and a few other body parts were found inside a crock pot box in a back passenger seat in her minivan. Now, let me just add right here, since we're talking about that minivan. Taylor is a married woman. She's not married to the victim. And she had just recently given birth to a little baby boy. This minivan, y'all, is probably what she's used to drive her baby around. Probably that husband too. But now she's using her minivan to drive around various body parts that belong to the lover that she murdered. Now, she said that she had planned on taking all the parts with her when she left out, but she got lazy, and she said she wasn't prepared because the murder wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. That's what she told police. She also said that some paranoia set in because of the meth she'd smoked. Now, another tidbit about Taylor is that it seems that she has this fascination with Jeffrey Dahmer. A journalist named Ann Schwartz has been doing some research on Taylor, and she's also written several books about the Jeffrey Dahmer case. And it looks like Schwartz has drawn most of her conclusions about Taylor's fascination with Dahmer, from reading the criminal complaint against Taylor. And she pointed out how Taylor said that she liked it. Schwartz also mentioned Taylor's Facebook page. So y'all, you know me, I had to go and do some snooping. The very last visible post, or the most recent, I guess I should say, visible post on Taylor's page reads, "Went off and told an addict, I'll never stop buying you dope so I could sit back and watch you die." Now, was this some type of warning, or I don't know. Now, I scrolled down through her page and I saw a post where she was wishing someone well and saying that she was happy for him. Now, that sounds like a normal post, but then I started reading comments that people have recently left, because anytime something happens and you can find that person's Facebook, just all hell breaks loose in the comments. But anyway, apparently the person that Taylor was happy for had helped her out a while back doing some type of research for what I'm assuming was a case that CPS had against Taylor in Texas. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know if it involves the baby she has now or previous children. I couldn't find a whole lot. I've been doing some research to see what kind of background Taylor has, but so far I've came up empty. But let's talk about that fascination with Dahmer for a minute. Okay, y'all, I do have a fascination with serial killers, but it's not the type of fascination that would lead me to, copycat these people. It's that type of fascination where I'm interested in what drove them on their crimes, or, drove them to start this crime spree. What makes them tick, that type of thing. And maybe you could call it, the psychology behind why all of it happened and why they are the way they are. But it's clear that that's not the type of fascination that Taylor had with Dahmer. And if she hadn't been caught, who knows? Maybe she would do it again, because remember, she said that she liked it. Now, a lot of people are blaming the whole thing on the fact that she had did drugs with her victim just before killing him. Now, y'all, I don't want y'all to take what I'm about to say is me condoning drug use, because I'm not. But a lot of people do drugs, and they don't do this type of thing. But she was a monster in the making, and okay, this is my opinion, but I feel like she had to, building up in her all along, probably from this fascination that she had with Jeffrey Dahmer, and the drugs just gave her the courage to carry it out. And like I said, that's strictly my opinion. Nothing has been said from authorities or anybody related to this case that's led me to say that. It's just a thought that I had. And she's being held on $2 million cash bond in Brown County, and if she's convicted of these crimes, she's looking at life in prison. Now we're going to move on to that story from Indiana. 40-year-old Christopher Claerbout has been charged with murder, criminal confinement, intimidation, theft of a motor vehicle, theft, and battery after an incident that happened at his parents' home on February 22nd. Claerbout reportedly told the police that he believed that he was Donald Trump and that his parents were Bill and Hillary Clinton right before he attacked them. He went on to say that when he was a child, his parents would pass him around for sex with a lot of politicians. Now, after a neighbor called police, 75-year-old David Claerbout was found deceased in the family's driveway. He had been stabbed multiple times, and soon afterwards, Christopher's mom, Marcia, was found. Now, she's alive, but she had been beaten, slashed, and partially bound. She told police that Christopher had left in her husband's car. Now, Marcia was able to tell the police what had taken place that morning. Around 9 a.m., she says, Christopher came in through their garage while she was getting ready for a class. And as she was getting ready to go downstairs, Christopher shoved her, and it caused her to fall down about 10 of the stairs. And as she fell, she hit this wooden tree that was on the stairs and the wall. After that, Christopher handcuffed her and tied her with an orange extension cord. Now, all throughout the day, Christopher was just ranting and raving. And over that 9-hour period of time that this was going on, Christopher would hold a knife to his mom's throat and demand answers. Well, around 6 that evening, her husband David came home, and when he asked their son what was going on, the two men went outside and began to argue. Well, Marcia somehow freed herself enough to go outside, and she screamed for the neighbors to call 911. Well, at that point, David had already lost consciousness. Police used the OnStar service to track down the vehicle that Christopher had taken from David. And they tracked it down on I-65, and through that OnStar system, they were able to turn off the vehicle. Well, I didn't know that was even a possibility. I thought it was just a thing that would call for help if you needed it, or maybe even navigation. But anyway, when the car was turned off, Christopher ran from the car into a wooded area. Well, with the assistance of a police K-9, officers were able to track him down and take him into custody. As police were questioning him, Christopher told police that his mother admitted to him that day that he had been molested as a child and that he had been passed around for sex with a lot of politicians. Christopher said that his plan was to arrest his mom. Now, remember, he thought that his mom was Hillary Clinton. But anyway, he was going to arrest her and drive her to Florida. During that same interview, Christopher told the police that he was Donald Trump and his parents were Bill and Hillary Clinton. Well, because his mom has so many connections, because after all, she is Hillary Clinton, he knew it'd be hard to get her to Florida. But get this, y'all. He says that he was going to detain her under the War Crimes Act for crimes she had committed against him and our country. From Florida, his mom would be going to, y'all, I can't make this stuff up. Says she was going to be going to Guantanamo Bay. When the police asked Christopher about his dad, he wouldn't answer, and the questioning was concluded. Mario Massimiliani, okay, I probably didn't even pronounce that right, but anyway, he's been appointed as Christopher's attorney, and he says that he's considering requesting a mental evaluation, but he'll make that decision after talking to Christopher. And I need to just say, this clearly sounds like Christopher may be suffering from some type of mental illness. Now, David Claerbout's death has been ruled as a homicide. And police are asking if you have any information on these cases, or on this case, to give them a call at 317-571-2500. And I'm going to put that number in today's episode description. Y'all, this is probably some of the craziest stuff that I've ever did a podcast episode on. I mean, I have done some stuff on the episodes, but y'all, I think these two cases just beat them all. Anyway, y'all, these are like just emerging news stories. When I do find out more on either one, I'm going to give y'all an update. Now, both of these cases sound like something from movies. They're hard to believe, but y'all, this really happened, and they all happened in the same week. Anyway, y'all have a good week, and don't forget to come back on Wednesday for the midweek mini.